Welcome back to Days of Today we will learn about the issue of Belle drawing a hard line with Phillip over Gabi, sparking a combustible triangle that could reshape Salem's power map and private lives alike, with tantalizing questions about whether Phillip might cross lines with both women as tempers flare and loyalties fracture. Belle's warning. Belle Black steps in with a pointed ultimatum, warning Phillip to keep distance from Gabi after noticing flirty encounters escalating into risky territory that could wreck reputations and business deals at once. The confrontation lands on a day already charged with tension, setting the tone for a week where Gabi takes matters into her own hands, while Phillip and Belle find unexpected emotional common ground that revives old sparks and old wounds in equal measure. Belle's protective instincts aren't just romantic. She's balancing legal optics and family fallout as she tries to guard Phillip from another scandal that could be weaponized by Salem's power players. Ari's interrogation. Before the triangle boils over, Ari Horton turns the spotlight on her mom, pulling Gabi into a frank interrogation about love, loyalty, and the mess that's brewing between the Kyriakis brothers and Belle's renewed proximity to Phillip. Ari's questions aren't idle teen curiosity. She's returned to Salem with her own baggage, and her demand for clarity forces Gabi to confront whether the seduction as strategy playbook is worth the emotional cost. The family moment becomes a mirror for Gabi's choices, revealing how personal schemes ripple into the next generation and complicate already frail trust. Javi's sharper probe. Javi Hernandez steps in with a cooler, closer read of Gabi's moves, pushing past evasions she tries with Ari and demanding a strategic explanation. Who is the true target? Xander, Phillip, or Titan itself? Gabi may open up more to Javi, acknowledging that mixing business with pleasure is a double-edged sword, especially when both Kyriakis brothers are watching and judging every flirtatious feint. His interrogation forces Gabi to name the line between genuine chemistry and calculated leverage, an answer that could define whether this takedown remains a plan or spirals into a personal implosion. Xander and Phillip watching. With Xander Kyriakis still a volatile factor and Phillip newly vulnerable, both men keep tabs on Gabi's behavior, reading the tea leaves on whether her teasing shifts into outright manipulation or something more real. Xander's history of violence toward Phillip and the fallout around investigations and arrests casts a shadow over every interaction, amplifying the risk if Gabi plays both sides of the Kyriakis divide. The brothers' wary surveillance isn't just jealousy. It's survival instinct in a town where boardrooms, bedrooms, and police stations share revolving doors. Phillip's pull toward Belle. Even after a sizzling office romp with Gabi, spoilers point to Phillip gravitating back toward Belle, exchanging comfort and candor as they bond in the days after Belle's warning. That paradox, sleeping with Gabi while emotionally reattaching to Belle, puts Phillip at the center of a dilemma that could burn him from both ends, especially if Belle sees his mixed signals as betrayal and Gabi sees them as a dare. Belle's calm competence and shared history with Phillip complicate Gabi's momentum, raising the stakes on every text, meeting, and whispered late-night confession. Gabi's computer gambit. Gabi redoubles efforts, pivoting to tech and timing as she engineers a computer encounter designed to yank Phillip's attention back into her orbit and toward her larger corporate objective. Whether it's a data breadcrumb, a staged digital emergency, or a conveniently timed document leak, the plan signals Gabi taking matters into her own hands while masking vulnerability under flawless execution. If the maneuver lands, Phillip's curiosity and protective instinct could pull him deeper into Gabi's narrative, right where she wants him, and where Belle refuses to let him stay. Mixed emotions, sharper edges. Today's spoilers frame Gabi as relentless yet conflicted, chasing a takedown while wrestling with feelings that no longer fit neatly into a spreadsheet or a scheme timeline. The more she wins Phillip's attention, the more she risks falling for the chaos she created. And that's exactly the vulnerability Belle intends to expose, and Xander intends to exploit. Every choice Gabi makes now feeds a feedback loop. Attraction fuels access, access fuels leverage, leverage fuels regret. Will Phillip bed both? The dangerous question hanging over Salem. Will Phillip sleep with both women as the temperature spikes, even while professing renewed interest in Belle? With one foot in Gabi's bed and another in Belle's confidences, Phillip risks detonating both relationships and handing his enemies a scandal ripe for courtroom theatrics and corporate coups. If he caves to temptation again, Belle's warning becomes a prophecy, and Gabi's strategy becomes powder for an explosion she can't fully control. Fallout for Titan and beyond. A Belle-Phillip rupture would echo through Titan's deal-making, hospital board maneuvers, and DiMera power games, reviving whispers about Phillip's judgment and Belle's divided loyalties in ongoing investigations and legal jockeying. Xander's past violence and legal jeopardy have already entangled corporate bids with criminal inquiries, making any fresh scandal a gift to rivals with long memories and longer knives. The triangle isn't only romantic. It's a fault line under Salem's institutions, where personal slips create boardroom earthquakes. What to watch next? Belle's line in the sand. If Phillip violates her warning, expect Belle to pivot from protector to prosecutor. Socially, legally, or both. Gabi's tech trap. The computer encounter could be the hinge moment that either locks Phillip in or exposes Gabi's hand to Belle and Xander at once. Xander's recalibration. Any hint that Phillip is playing both sides could revive Xander's worst impulses, reopening a violent chapter everyone hoped was closed. Final word. In the immediate term, expect Belle and Phillip to bond, even as Gabi mounts a bolder pursuit, creating the exact conditions where passion outruns caution and secrets outrun alibis. If Phillip tries to juggle both Belle and Gabi again, Salem will not look away, because in this town, bedroom choices are boardroom weapons, and warnings are rarely heeded until after the damage is done. Part 2. Next, heartbreak behind bars. A family torn apart in Salem. In the bustling town of Salem, where secrets and scandals are as common as the morning coffee, a dramatic chapter unfolded that left hearts shattered and tears flowing freely. This story revolves around the Black and DiMera families, longtime residents known for their tangled web of love, betrayal, and redemption. At the center of this emotional storm are Brady Black, his ex-partner Kristen DiMera, their young daughter Rachel, and the wise matriarch Marlena Evans. What began as a shocking confession spiraled into a scene of raw anguish, reminding us all of the fragile bonds that hold families together. Let's delve deeper into this poignant tale, exploring the pain, the accusations, and the unbreakable spirit of those involved. It all started on a quiet afternoon when Marlena, a respected psychiatrist and grandmother figure to many in Salem, decided it was time to have a difficult conversation with little Rachel. Marlena, with her gentle demeanor and years of experience helping people through crises, knew this wouldn't be easy. She escorted the young girl to the elegant penthouse, a place that had seen its share of joys and sorrows over the decades. The penthouse, with its high ceilings, plush furniture, and panoramic views of the town, felt unusually heavy with tension that day. Sitting Rachel down on a soft couch, Marlena chose her words carefully. She explained, in the simplest terms a child could understand, that Rachel's mother, Kristen, had confessed to a serious crime, shooting E.J. DiMera, a prominent figure in Salem's business world and a man with his own complicated history. E.J.'s shooting had been a mystery that gripped the town, with whispers and suspicions flying everywhere. Now, Kristen had stepped forward, admitting her role in the incident. Rachel's reaction was heartbreaking. At such a tender age, she couldn't fathom her mother committing such an act. "Mommy wouldn't do that," she might have whispered, her big eyes filling with confusion and fear. But the truth, as Marlena gently presented it, was undeniable. Rachel's small frame shook with sobs as the weight of loss crashed over her. She had already endured so much in her young life, losing connections to loved ones like her grandfather John Black, who had faced his own battles with health and danger. "I can't lose Mommy too," Rachel cried, her voice breaking in a way that tugged at Marlena's heartstrings. Marlena held her close, offering comfort in the form of hugs and soothing words. But the pain was deep, a wound that time alone might heal. Meanwhile, across town in the stark, unforgiving confines of the Salem prison, another storm was brewing. Brady Black, Rachel's devoted father, confronted Kristen behind the cold metal bars of her cell. Brady, a man known for his passionate nature and unyielding sense of justice, was furious. His voice echoed through the dimly lit corridor as he unleashed his anger. He wasn't just upset about the shooting or the confession. He was enraged that Kristen had allowed their nephew Johnny to shoulder the blame for so long. Johnny, a young man full of promise, had been dragged into this mess, his reputation tarnished by the shadow of suspicion. But that wasn't all. Brady's heart ached most for their daughter. He accused Kristen of forcing Rachel into an impossible position, testifying against her own father in court. Can you imagine the turmoil for a child caught between parents she loves dearly? Brady's words cut like a knife. How could you let our little girl suffer like this? She's just a kid, Kristen. She doesn't deserve this nightmare. Kristen, ever the master of deception with her history of schemes and manipulations, stuck to her story. She claimed the shooting was an accident, a tragic mishap in a moment of heated emotion. But Brady wasn't buying it. He paced back and forth, his face flushed with disbelief. If it was really an accident, you would never have let it go this far, he shouted. You've gotten away with so much in the past. History has shown you that. Why confess now? What are you hiding? The tension built like a gathering thunderstorm. Brady vowed to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. He was determined, his eyes blazing with resolve. Kristen, sensing the walls closing in, begged him to drop it. Please, Brady, just let it go, she pleaded, her voice cracking for the first time. Think of Rachel. Be there for her. That's all that matters now. But Brady's anger boiled over. He berated her relentlessly, calling out her past mistakes and questioning her fitness as a mother. You've put our daughter through hell time and again, he said, his words sharp and unforgiving. You're a terrible mother, Kristen, and you'll never see her again if I have anything to say about it. The final blow landed, and Kristen, who had always projected strength and cunning, crumbled. Tears streamed down her face as she burst into sobs, her tough exterior shattering like fragile glass. In that lonely cell, Kristen cut a tragic figure. She was dressed in an ankle-length red gown with long sleeves, a remnant of her glamorous life outside these walls, perhaps worn during her arrest or a court appearance. The vibrant red contrasted sharply with the gray, lifeless surroundings. The narrow bed bolted to the floor, the bare walls echoing her cries, and the faint hum of fluorescent lights overhead. Curling up on that small, uncomfortable bed, she hugged her knees to her chest, her body racked with heaving sobs. It was a moment of vulnerability rarely seen from Kristen, a woman who had schemed her way through countless crises. Alone with her regrets, she wept for the family she had lost, the daughter she adored, and the choices that had led her here. Back at the penthouse, Brady returned home, his shoulders slumped from the emotional battle. Rachel, still tearful and clinging to a stuffed animal for comfort, ran to him. He knelt down to her level, wrapping her in a warm embrace. Everything's going to be okay, sweetheart, he whispered, though his own voice trembled with uncertainty. He stroked her hair, promising that Daddy would always be there, no matter what. Rachel nodded through her sniffles and eventually wandered off to her room, perhaps to draw or play, seeking solace in the simple joys of childhood. Marlena, ever the compassionate observer, approached Brady quietly. How is Kristen holding up? She asked, her tone filled with genuine concern. After all, Marlena had treated many in Salem, including Kristen, and understood the complexities of human frailty. Brady's response was blunt, laced with lingering anger. I don't care, he said flatly. How could she do this to our little girl? Rachel's world is falling apart because of her. Marlena placed a reassuring hand on his arm. I know it's hard, Brady, but remember, this family has weathered storms before. We'll be there for Rachel. You, me, and everyone who loves her. She won't face this alone. Her words were a beacon of hope in the darkness, reminding Brady that in Salem, resilience runs deep in the blood. This heart-wrenching episode serves as a stark reminder of the consequences of our actions. especially when they ripple out to affect the innocent. Kristen's confession, whether born of guilt or strategy, has upended lives and tested loyalties. For Rachel, the path ahead may be filled with questions and healing, but with the support of her father and grandmother, she has a foundation to build upon. Brady's quest for truth might uncover more secrets, adding layers to this already intricate drama. And Kristen, in her solitude, faces the mirror of her choices, perhaps pondering redemption. In the end, stories like this one echo the timeless truths of life. Love can be fierce, mistakes profound, and forgiveness a slow journey. For those of us watching from afar, it's a poignant tale that stirs the soul, urging us to cherish our own families a little closer. As Salem moves forward, one can only wonder what twists await in the next chapter of this enduring saga.